Okay, before I get started with the video, I'd like to thank those who suffered with me on stream. Shout out to Cape on Twitch, even though I didn't archive any of the Twitch comments because it's fucking restream IO is a pain in the ass to work with. But other than that, let's get on to the review. I should go over the history of Mother 3. See, Mother 3 started out originally as Earthbound 64. It was expected to be a launch title for the N64 DD, but it ended up being a commercial failure, and it pretty much was canceled around the year 2000. So that kind of sucks, and it was about 60% complete. This is because, you know, the GameCube came along, so the N64 was dead. But about 3 years after it was canceled, Mother 3 was re-announced for the Game Boy in 2003. Of course, when it was released on the 4th, the 20th, the time that this video is being uploaded, aka 420 Blaze It, in the year 2006, only in Japan. And by the way, it became a bestseller there, so I don't know why it wasn't released outside Japan. So, what the fuck? Reggie, where's Mother 3? But, yeah, that's the history on it. Let's get into the actual review this time now. Alright, so let's start talking about the gameplay of Mother 3. Let's start off with the overworld before we start getting more into the combat. So in the overworld, you can basically walk around. You no longer have to hit the L button like you did in Mother 2 to interact with objects in the world. Honestly, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen, but you know, what you gonna do? But other than that, besides the run button. Now, unlike traditional run buttons, where you hold the button and push a direction, Mother 3's run button is more... Is the word automated accurate? It's more like a start up and go. So you hold the B button while at a standstill. Your characters will charge up their run. By charge, I mean they'll just go into running position. You let go of the B button and they immediately start running. Unlike other run buttons, you don't need to push a direction to get them to start running. They will run automatically. All you need to do is steer them onto the overworld. Enemies appear on the overworld like they did in Mother 2. Enemies could be engaged in battle in 3 different ways. Way number 1 is, of course, neutral battle, where you just run into them face first, face to face, and you start a battle. You can run into them from behind, and you get an advantage in battle. You get a first turn advantage, and if they run into you from behind, they get a first turn advantage. Pretty simple, pretty easy to pick up. But after you engage battle, there are 2 major changes I would like to note. First major change is more of a quality of life thing. The quality of life change, that being the visual indicators of which character you are currently selecting abilities for. Their icon, like their sprite, appears above the their little HP menu when it's selected. So you know, it makes it easier to tell who you have selected. I mean, I still bumbled into pushing buttons I shouldn't, but what are you gonna do? But it's really nice quality of life change. The second change has to do with the music of the game. See, in Mother 3, there is a new battle system. It is the rhythm system. While it does play like the previous Mother game, / Earthbound, it has the new rhythm system. This system isn't essentially required to beat the game, but it's a really nice system. Basically, it works like this. Each enemy has a rhythm, and by that I mean, well, each song being played in the background has a different rhythm. The rhythm is universal. What I mean by that is, basically your rhythm only matters to the music that's being played in the background of the game. So you don't have to worry about the rhythm being per enemy basis. It's per music basis. Alright. So basically you can either ad-lib the rhythm, or you can use Duster or Kumatora to use their abilities. Kumatora has to spend psychic points to put an enemy to sleep using her PK hypnosis. PK or PSI? Whatever. And for Duster, he has to use his Hypno Pendulum, which costs nothing but a turn. So I suggest just going for Hypno Pendulum and never touching Hypnosis. But basically, the enemy will fall asleep and you can hear their heartbeat, and that's the rhythm of the music. And I mean, that's essentially it for the actual gameplay of the game, honestly. Oh, besides frogs being your save points. Man, I can hear Big the Cat literally screaming Froggy from a mile away. Froggy? Is that you? Also, frog in a car. I'm gonna keep the story very short, so on to the story. So I'm gonna skip over the exposition. Also, fucking spoilers, or just if you don't give a fuck, continue watching. So we start off with twin brothers at their grandfather's with their mom Hinama, which now that I think about it, twin brothers. This is a common trope, isn't it? At least for its time. I'll come back to that. Anyways, they plan to go back home, and we learn that the entire force is on fire because some pig masked people ran in and throw bombs. Flint goes to see why that's the problem, yada yada yada. He finds out that his wife is dead after, you know, they recovered both the brothers and they're perfectly fine. They get a Macadrago tooth. And so after the dad was put in jail for flipping his shit, well, the son that went to break him out, Claus, goes full Virgil and says, I'm going to show you I am the strongest. I will be strong. You know, he doesn't want to feel weak again. Basic Virgil trope. We learn of the Magypsies. What the fuck? Are you a man, a woman, he, she, it? I don't fucking know. After, you know, Flint goes after his son, Alec, the grandfather, knows of these Magypsies, and the Magypsies taught Claus powers, so they went to go confront the Macadrago. Of course, they couldn't find Claus, and, you know, they didn't slay the Macadrago because Alec was like, yo, we don't want to, you know, orphan this other little Drago baby. On to the next chapter. Duster is an idiot. I love Duster, but he's kind of stupid. He goes in, and we also catch our first glimpse of Kumatora. Kumatora drops a pendant. Duster picks it up. He grabs the thing Wes wants, and he runs back after he got the item. And Wes was like, yo, you an idiot. So they go back during the daytime, and we learn that the pig masks run in and basically raid the place. So they went back. Wes does a really weird dance. They run into Kumatora. Kumatora is the first psychic character you run into, and after they get chased down because they can't really leave the normal way, plus they need to get that item, this egg, which has to do with the exposition that I skipped over. Basically, they all get split apart. However, Kumatora and Wes meet up again, but they've literally lost Duster. I was actually going to skip over the Salsa part also because I forgot about Salsa's story, part of the story, because his part of the story is kind of really small that you might forget about it. You know, Salsa loses his you know, his butt buddy, his butt girl, and you know, he has to play second fiddle to Facade, this dick. He gets his comeuppance later. After we do the Salsa chapter, towards the end, Lucas comes in after Salsa is saved by Kumatora and Wes. You know, Facade's like, nah, fam, you think you run in. And then Lucas walks in, he's like, yo, I got a buddy, calls in a Drago, and the Drago, you know, puts Facade in his place. On to now, chapter 4, we go to Lucas, and this is where we see Tazmily Village change immensely. This is, I believe, a 2 to 3 year time skip. So Lucas is now in his teens. You know, he's now essentially been motherless and brotherless. So he's pretty much scarred. As Lucas goes on, he basically, you know, runs through a railway, and we run into the first Magypsy that Lucas makes contact with. This Magypsy tells him to okay. It's a bit much. Anyways, as we go to the place that was mentioned around the town, we run into a factory, we work there, and then we go to Club Titty Boo. What? Anyways, that's besides the point. We go to Club's Titty Boo, we run back into Kumatora. She's like, yo, it's me, my dude. And Lucky is rumored to be Duster in the band totally not AC/DC. It's totally fucking AC/DC. But anyways, as we return back, we have to go look for the egg. Of course, Duster doesn't remember who he is, but he chooses to go along with us, yada yada yada. Then we get foreshadowing that people think Lucas is the commander. Okay, so after he's ratted out for not being, the commander because he doesn't look 100% like the commander, we go back to the Magypsies, and we learn about the 7 Dragon Ball. The 7 needles. Anyways, we go on a needle quest to pull needles. Masked Man will totally screw us for like one of them, I believe I remember. He does lightning bolt the shit out of us. The second time, he does not get the lightning bolt because we got the Franklin badge, and we say, nah boy, we don't take those. Alright, so that's what happens. After that, we get sent to Newport City, and of course we learn the major antagonist is Porky, because fuck Porky. We go kick Porky's ass, and we face off with the Masked Man, which we learn the Masked Man is actually before we fight him, of course, we learn that he is Claus. Thanks, Dad, you killed the tension. Like, I get that they were trying to say that he's not Claus, and I guess if I went in blind, I would believe that he is not Claus at first sight. But like, the foreshadowing is hard enough for me to be like, I'm pretty sure that's Claus. Like you can't tell me it's not. Anyways, face off with the Masked Man. He bolts you with the final piece of lightning, and the part is supposed to give you the feels, but I'm not easily a feels person, so. But he hits you with a bolt of lightning. He dies. You pull the string. I keep saying string. Fuck. Needle. He pulls the needle, and it's the end of the story. Also, when the Masked Man bolts you with lightning, only you and him are fighting. Field strip. So that's really it for the story. That aside, this was like 28 hours worth of video I had to sift through. Holy shit. Like approximately 28. This is holy crap. As for the other things, my only issues with the game is it suffers from some old design choices, at being like some things aren't accessible unless you interact with them and then interact with something else that's like far removed from it. It's very weird. There are a couple difficulty spikes that are out of the fucking blue, and the game is a bit short because it took me a long time to beat it, but I had a lot of things in between to do. But it's a good game. You should definitely play it. Yeah. So if you liked my video, leave a like. If you didn't like my video, leave a dislike. Tell me why. If you feel like it, obviously don't be that fucking guy. All right. It's just like fuck you, dude. All right. Also, don't forget to, if you like my fucking garbage, subscribe. Fucking law. Alright. Peace.